This will be with Kathleen Booth and facilitated by Akash Agrawal on how Kathleen built a thriving community at Pavilion. So, without further ado, Akash, I am handing the baton to you.
Hi, hi, hi everyone. Welcome to the fireside chat. And I'm Akash, community head at Trevender and community director for APAC with led by community. And I'm excited to be hosting Kathleen in this fireside chat. Let's jump right in and let me introduce you to Kathleen. Kathleen is a seasoned marketing leader with a remarkable track record for success. Uh, Her current role as SVP of Marketing and Growth at Pavilion, a global community of go-to-market executives, is just a testament to her expertise. She she has been recognized by top ranks for her contributions, naming her one of the top 50 B2B marketers to watch. So, without further ado, welcome Kathleen. Welcome to the Fireside Chat.
Thank you, Akash. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Great, great. So, can you give us a brief about the Pavilion community? What it is, what it stands for?
Sure. Pavilion is a global community of more than 10,000 go-to-market leaders, which we define as the CEO, founder, and the heads of marketing, sales, revenue operations, and customer success. So, go-to-market leaders in mostly B2B recurring revenue businesses. And our mission is to help them achieve and unlock their full professional potential. And we do that through community, through education, through insights, and through events.
Great, great. So, like, you're leading the leaders, the C-suite.
Yeah, it's definitely it's people who are responsible for driving revenue at many of the world's highest growth technology businesses.
glad, uh, glad someone is leading that. So, I would like to know, how did this community begin? What was the inception story?
Sure. It all started actually with Sam Jacobs, who is Pavilion's founder. And it was back in 2016. Sam had been a sales leader for his career. He was a chief revenue officer many times over, and he had been actually fired a few times. As many of us in go-to-market leadership positions have been throughout our careers. And the average tenure is very short for most of leaders in these types of roles. And it was the last time he was fired. He was feeling very down, very frustrated, very discouraged. And he started getting together for dinner with other chief revenue officers and commiserating and supporting each other and sharing their challenges and helping each other. And those dinners, which began in New York City back in 2016, grew, became more successful. More people wanted to attend, and really, it's a story of organic success in the sense that that was the start of Pavilion. He tapped into a deep need on the part of go-to-market leaders to find community and to be in a safe space where they could share the challenges they were facing and ask for and receive help. And since then, Pavilion has grown tremendously. I mean, through COVID, like many other communities, we underwent exponential growth. And today, it's a vastly different organization. We started with just chief revenue officers. And now, as I described, it's really the go-to-market leadership team. So cutting across different functions and cutting across different types and stages of company.
I'm really glad to know that it actually started as a group of people who were interested in the same thing, who were interested in solving a common problem, and it grew to such a level that they didn't only help themselves, they are helping so many people, and they have built an amazing community around that. So,
Yeah, it's I was just going to add, I think this is a thing that really distinguishes Pavilion, is that we are not just a community of leaders, we are very much a mission and values based business that is founded on the principle that we all, by giving and helping others, we get a lot ourselves. And actually, would be remiss if I didn't say Sam, the founder, wrote a book, which you can see behind me here, called Kind Folks Finish First. And this is really the ethos of the community. It's about the notion that kindness is actually something that can fuel your career and your success. And I think that's why we've been successful, is it's really that undercurrent of helpfulness and kindness that has made us a different kind of a place.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I like to believe that the base of every community manager is also kindness and empathy. So yeah, you've got us there. So what were the challenges that you and Pavilion encountered when growing up and shaping the community to what it is today?
Yeah, so I've had an interesting journey with Pavilion. I was actually a member first for 3 years before I joined the company. And so a lot of the credit for the early growth goes to Sam and the team that was here at that time. And also we've grown throughout an interesting time in the world. I think I mentioned we grew a lot during COVID, as did many other communities. And so I think that there are some elements like that fueled our growth. But I think really when I look back at the growth journey of Pavilion and when I look back at the lessons learned, certainly I think at the heart of it all starts with building a community that truly is delivering value for its members. It's the same, really. I'm a marketer. It's the same with marketing anything. The best marketing in the world can't make up for a product that isn't excellent. And so I think first and foremost, when we think about growing our community, we think about not like what channel can we use to promote it or what strategy are we going to use to market it. We think about how can we make our existing members love Pavilion even more. And so it's all about really deeply understanding the challenges our members face and how we can help solve for that. And actually one of our values as a company is members first for that reason. So historically, a lot of our growth, the vast majority of our growth has come from referrals from existing members. And so it's that 1-2 punch of, on the one hand, solving for the member and really making them happy, and happy members begetting more happy members. And then the other side of that is building a solution for making it really easy and friction free for somebody who is currently a member to refer a new one. And for that, we have used Referral Rock for several years, and we give our members a referral link and they do get a small referral bonus. And we're actually moving in the direction of making that a referral bonus for the member as well as a discount for the person they refer, so that it's win-win on both sides.
Hmm, really that's a really great strategy that you've been using, uh, listening to the members and solving it for them, because that's how some of the great communities are built. You, instead of imposing your own solutions to the members, you listen to the members what they actually want, and you draw out of that. You reel that in, and you share whatever the solution you have from for them, or you promote them to bring in the solution that if they can.
Yeah. And I would say, when it comes to how, like, if somebody's interested in more details around how does happy members result in more happy members, in addition to the software platform that I mentioned, I think there's other elements there that we focused on to make it easy for members to share their appreciation for Pavilion. One of those is we encourage our members to add Pavilion as to their LinkedIn profile, almost as though it were a job. And so when somebody joins, we send them information around, look, here's how you can list this on your LinkedIn, because it's a good thing for you to be associated with this community and to promote that. And then, we also have local chapter heads who help us run Pavilion in the various local regions where we're present. And we encourage them to welcome new members on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a really big platform for us, and it's organic LinkedIn. We actually don't spend any money on paid advertising at all. So, coming up with ways to encourage members to share their own participation in Pavilion and to shout out and celebrate others. And finally, I think the fact that we have courses, Some of our most popular offerings are our CMO school, our CRO school. People take these programs, and at the end, if they pass a test, they get a certification. And our members love sharing publicly that they've gotten these certifications. And so that's another great way of elevating the visibility of the community.
Okay, so, like, this is completely off the agenda, and this is coming from what you just shared. How, like, these are C-suite and leadership level folks that you have in the community. How do you engage them, because they don't have as much time as other members, other folks.
Yeah. Yeah, you're so right. Our members, the vast majority of our members are vice president or above level within their organization. They have a ton of responsibility. And, I will say this, when somebody quits Pavilion, a lot of the time, what I hear is, I didn't have the time to invest in it. So, what I tell people is, and I think this is true of any community, you are going to get out of it what you put into it. And we have actually got a lot of executive members that put a tremendous amount of time into their participation in their community. And I think what they recognize is that it's going to pay back in spades, both for them personally, in the form of, like, they're going to learn a lot, they're going to build their network, etc. But also for the right kind of company, it can actually drive ROI for companies too. And we have some members who've generated a lot of business out of the community, which is fascinating because we have a no pitch rule where you can't come in and contact other members cold and try to sell them anything or be self-promotional. But it's that subtle kind of art of being helpful to people, building relationships and building trust, so that when someone says, hey, who do you recommend for X? If I do X, others in the community are going to step up and say, you should talk to Kathleen. And I think that there's really been a movement in recent years towards this notion of community-led growth. And I think the neat thing about working at Pavilion is I've been able to see firsthand how that works with the people who have invested their time in the community.
That's a great learning, and I think personally I've also been looking for an answer to that question, and listening to someone from who's been managing such a community, it's really knowledgeable. So, before we move on to the questions from the audience, I have one last question for you. Based on your experience, what advice would you offer to community professionals embarking on a similar journey?
Oh gosh, it's such a good question. I mean, I think, and I've actually been involved in building more than just this community. I was at another company several years back where we built a community of 5,000 plus marketers. And that community lived on Facebook, which is so funny because I feel like the world has changed a lot. And now very few people would build a community on Facebook these days. So I guess my advice is really, if you're just starting out, to the point of what I just said, it's to think long term. Um, you have to think about the fact that when you build a community, what you're really building is an owned asset, meaning that asset that is the community, that is the membership base, that has value to you. And what you don't want to do is build your community in such a way that that value could be jeopardized by things like the platform where you build it. I talked about Facebook, and Facebook has changed a lot in the last 5 to 10 years. And the community that I built years back really has I think they shut it down in the last year. It's been a while since I've been involved, and that's because the people's participation on that platform has really changed. In the case of Pavilion, we built the community on Slack, and so far for us, it's worked out really well because Slack is a deeply entrenched part of the daily workflow of our members. But I think you really have to think about things like platform choices when you're building, because that's going to dictate a lot of how your ability to be successful in the future, and there are other choices too, but overall that's really my advice, is you have to think about long term. And it's easy to fall prey to, like, what is the hot thing right now, but keep longevity in mind, because if you're successful, and even Slack has challenges. Slack is a great platform, but when your community reaches a certain size, if you want to, preserve message history, you have to pay Slack, and it's expensive, and so my husband, for example, worked for a company where they built a community and it was for developers, and they built it on Discord. And Discord, there's no cost to doing that. And so Discord, isn't the right platform for everyone, but these are the kinds of trade-offs you need to be thinking through when you get started, because if you are successful, they will either make your path down the road much easier or much, much harder.
Definitely. Thanks for sharing that awesome advice with everyone, Kathleen. And I would just like to say that there is no one perfect platform for any community. Just go where your members are, and if it fits, we take it. So I would like to take the questions from the audience. How are events a growth tool for Pavilion?
Oh, events. It's a great question. So in 2024, what I can tell you is that my entire growth strategy for the community is founded around 3 pillars. Number one, it's what I started talking about, which is member led, meaning happy members begetting more happy members. Number two is actually partner led, which I think a lot of organizations are talking these days about partner led growth. And number three is event led. So your question is really timely. And we do a lot of events. And actually, we have found that events are impactful in a couple ways. Number one, a member is on average much happier and much more likely to remain a member if they have attended particularly an in-person event. And so, we do a lot of virtual events as well, and those are certainly helpful, but in-person events are really like the magic, because that's where people take those relationships that they've formed online and translate them into the real world. And so our goal is really to get people to those in-person events so that our members are happier. And going back to my first pillar of member-led growth, the events serve as a flywheel for that member-led growth. But they are also a great opportunity for us to acquire net new members by being able to demonstrate in real life the magic of the Pavilion community. And it's a hard thing to describe, but we've done a lot of events over the last year. And the most common refrain that I hear afterwards is, and it's so interesting, you would never think of this as from a business and executive business community, but people always say, there's so much love in the room at your events. And it's true. It's like really hard to explain to somebody who hasn't been to one, but the amount of people who are just excited and hugging each other and thrilled to see each other. It's a magic that truly can only happen in person. And if you're somebody who's not already a member, coming in and experiencing that is tremendously powerful. And so for us, it's about delivering that experience, showcasing the love that's there, showcasing the value that comes from participation in community, and then just having a good process for following up and staying top of mind with people.
Yeah, thank you. I have a few things to say, but we're at the time, the closing time. I'll just pop in the last question. It's a quick one. What is the current size and roles of the community team at Pavilion?
So I would say our whole company is a community team, and we're roughly 30 people. And the organization is broken down. We have what I would call our core business functions of finance and human resources and things like that. But the rest of the company is broken down by my team, which is marketing and growth. So sales, marketing, et cetera, and partnerships falls under that. And then we have our operations team, which supplies us with great data on what's happening in the community. We have our Learn team, which builds our Pavilion University programming. And then we have a community team, which actually runs our communities almost as a product. So 30 people in total.
Thank you, Kathleen. And I'd like to thank you for joining us on the fireside chat.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.